Hello everybody, today I'm going over Packet Tracer Lab 2.7.6 from the Intro to Networking class by Cisco. This lab is called Implement Basic Connectivity. We've got an addressing table here at the start of the lab. We've got two switches hooked up to two different PCs here on our diagram. Our objectives are to perform a basic configuration for the switches, configure the PCs, and configure the switch management interface. So in this activity, we are going to first create a basic switch configuration, then implement basic connectivity by configuring IP addressing on switches and PCs. So these IP addresses up here are going to mean something this time. We're going to use those. When the IP addressing configuration is complete, you will use various show commands to verify the configuration, and we're also going to use the ping command to see if the connectivity is working between the devices. A little heads up on this lab, there is a mistake here on the current lab that they have loaded. I don't know if they're going to fix it, but I have a copy of the old lab. If you follow this lab, you're not going to be able to get to 100%. There's a message of the day command that's left out, but I know what they want from us, so we're going to make it happen. At the start of this lab, we are to perform a basic configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. Those are right here, switch 1 and switch 2, already connected to two PCs for us. In step 1, we're going to configure switch 1 with a host name. We're told to click on S1, so I left click S1. It brings up the command line interface. If you're not in CLI, click on this tab to get there. I'm going to hit enter in this screen so I can get into the switch here. And now it says to enter the correct command to configure the host name as S1. So at this point, they're starting to expect us to remember some of these commands. In order to get to that place, I need to first type enable and then config T and then host name, capital S, and the number 1 and hit enter. And I've achieved that. I've got 4%, and I can move on to the next thing. Step 2. Configure the console and encrypted privileged exec passwords. So I need to be back in that command line interface. It disappeared on me because I clicked out of it, but let me just click top here so that it stays there for us. And in order to achieve the next thing, I need to go into line con 0 because we want to set the console password. We need to be on the console line. And then the command is password, and they want it to be Cisco. So I'm typing the word Cisco. And then I want that to be for login. So I'm typing the word login. And then it says use class for the privileged exec mode password. So I'm going to exit out of here. And in this mode, I'm going to type enable secret class and hit enter. And I'm at 18% here. So I've completed that part. Step 3, verify the password configurations for switch 1. How can you verify that both passwords were configured correctly? Well, after we exit user exec mode, the switch will prompt us for a password to access the console interface, and then it's going to prompt us again to access privilege exec mode. We could also use the show run command to view the passwords. Okay, we're not going to do that right now, but I just told you all the answers. You can try it on your own. For step 4, save the configuration file to NVRAM. For step 4, we are going to type in exit. I hit enter again to get back to S1 hashtag, and then copy, run, start. And then just hit enter. And I'm at 22% now. Okay, then it says repeat steps 1 to 5 for switch 2. So let's go over to switch 2. Left click on switch 2, hit enter, and I'm going to do the same commands here. So we started off by renaming it. This time, of course, it's going to be S2. So enable, config T, host name, capital S2. And it's changed, so that's good. And now I want to go into line con 0. That's the console line. Password, Cisco, login. I need to exit first. Okay, now I need to set the privileged exact password, so I'm going to exit. Enable secret class. Okay, now I also need to save this one, so I'm going to exit out of config mode. Hit enter again to get to my prompt and type copy, run, start. Hit enter again because that's where I want it to be saved to. And I am at 45% now. Okay, part 2, configure the PCs. Configure both PCs with IP addresses. So we're going to go to PC1. So let me exit out of the switch. Click PC1 and then the desktop tab. So we're already in that. Click IP configuration right here. In the addressing table, you can see that the IP address for PC1 is 192.168.1.1. They're talking about the addressing table right here. PC1 has this IP address. So let's go back down to where we were. Again, what we want to do is type in the information here on this screen. So for IP4 address, we're going to type 192.168.1.1. The subnet mask, 255.255.255.0. It automatically came up for me. You need to check that. It doesn't always match what it should be. And then I'm going to tab to the next thing there. Everything looks good here. And it's just going to save it. There's no save button here. But I do recommend clicking out of that particular box just to make sure that it's saved there. And then you can go ahead and X out of PC1. And let's go into PC2. And we're going to do the same thing for PC2, but it's going to have a different address. So you got to be careful that you're typing the correct address. So we'll go into IP configuration. And for PC2, they don't tell us right here. We need to go up to the table to find it. Here's the address for PC2. So 192.168.1.2. And then the subnet mask also came up the same. Remember I told you should click out of that just to make sure that it has put it in the right place. And then you can X out of that window and you can see our percentages are going up in this lab. We're up to 63%. Okay, now we're on step 2, test connectivity to switches. So what we want to do is type the ping command and the IP address for switch 1. So what we're going to do is click on PC1. We want to click on the command prompt. And here we are in the PC now, and we're going to type ping and the IP address for switch 1. Now, if you look up at the table, it's 192.168.1.253. Hit enter, and let's see what the result is that we're going to get. This is a bit of a trick question. See the request timed out? It keeps trying to reach that address and it's not getting it. It says it sent 4 little test packets. None of them were received. All of them were lost, 100% lost. And the question is, why did that just happen? And the reason is we haven't given the switch an IP address yet. So let's go back and give the switch an IP address. So part 3 is about configuring the switch management interface. So we're going to start off with switch 1 and give it an IP address. Switches can be used as plug-and-play devices. This means they do not need to be configured for them to work. Switches forward information from one port to another based on MAC addresses. If this is the case, why would we configure it with an IP address? Use the following commands to configure S1 with an IP address. So we need to have an IP address on this in order for us to be able to communicate with the PC. Let's go ahead and do this. So we're going to click on S1 and we're back in the command line interface. I'm moving down here to the bottom and I'm going to type configure terminal, hit enter. Always check to make sure that it worked for you in case you might have typed something quite, just a little mistake. You want to make sure it's right. The next thing to type is interface VLAN 1. That's going to get us into the correct interface. And then the IP address. Double check to make sure you've got it right, because if you type this in wrong, it's kind of a process to make sure that you correct it. It's kind of a big deal. Hit enter. Everything looks like it was accepted all right. And then no shutdown. This is going to open that line up. No shutdown means to open it. So it's giving us some messages here. It's saying that the interface VLAN 1 has been changed to a state of up. And I've lost my prompt, so I'm going to hit enter to get back into it. Then it says in step 2, use the information in the addressing table to configure switch 2 with the IP address. So let's go over to switch 2 and we'll do the same thing, but they're not going to tell us all the information right now. We're going to have to go looking for it in the table. So remember, our first command is configure terminal. I'm just going to type config T because we know that's a shortcut. And I'm in config mode, then interface VLAN 1. And then we want to type the IP address, but we need to look for it. So let's look at what the IP address for switch 2 is supposed to be. It's supposed to be 192.168.1.254 with that same subnet mask. So let's go over here and type it. 192.168.1.254 space 255.255.255.0. Remember, double check that to make sure you typed it right before you hit enter. If it all looks good to you, hit enter. And then the next thing was to type no shutdown. And then we can just exit that part. We're back to config mode, and let's go see what else we need to do. We're at 90% right now. So we configured switch 1 with the IP address. We configured switch 2 with an IP address. Verify the IP address configuration on switch 1 and switch 2. Use the show IP interface brief command to display the IP address and status of all the switch ports. You can also use show running config. So let's see what we can look at. These show commands can be helpful if we want to verify that everything is working okay. We need to get to a different mode. I have to type exit to get into the previous mode. And you can see now that I've got 2 interfaces that are up. There they are. I'm going to hit the space bar to get more. And look at VLAN 1. This is the critical one. That's the one we just set up. Now I'm on switch 2. You can see that up here in the corner. There's my VLAN 1, and there's the address that I gave it. So that one is good. I'll let you spend your time looking for the other one. Then it says save configurations for switch 1 and switch 2 to NVRAM. So we are going to type copy, run, start, enter. We should go back into switch 1 and do the same thing. Exit out of that mode again. Copy, run, start. And that looks good. Verify network connectivity. Network connectivity can be verified using the ping command. So let's try this again. Did it work? How did things go? So we're going to click PC1 and then the desktop, which we were already in. Here we are. And now we're going to try that ping command again. We want to see if it's going to work this time. If you hit the up arrow, it's going to bring up the last command that you typed. I already typed it once, so I just hit the up arrow and there it is. I'm going to hit enter and let's see if it works this time. All right, this time it says that there were 4 packets sent, 3 were received, there was a loss of 25% loss. So that's good. I'm going to type that command once again. So I'm going to hit the up arrow and type it again and enter it. Because sometimes on the first run through, there might be some loss of packets as the routers or as the switches are deciding where things should be sent. But you can see that as we move on and we try it again, we have 0% loss. So it was a good setup. Everything is working perfectly. Now I am only at 90% here, and I think there is an error in this lab. I don't know if I missed it somewhere, but I don't see where they have asked us to set up a banner message of the day. That is on an old version of the lab, but I think they've made a mistake by not putting it here. So I have an old version that I'm looking at. So let's go ahead and set up the message of the day banner and see if that gets us to 100% because we're only at 90 right now. So let's go into switch 1 and we want to set up the banner of the day. We need to be in config mode. So I'm going to type in config T. Now I'm in config mode and I'm going to say I'm going to type banner MOTD, message of the day, and then quotations, and I'm going to type something about warning. I'll just put the word warning and close the quotes and hit enter. Now my percentage didn't change. Let's try switch 2 and see what's going on there. We'll try setting up a message of the day here too. Config T. Oh. Banner, MOTD. Let's try this. Authorized access only. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. Let's hit enter now. Okay. This is what was written in the old lab. I'm at 95% now. So let's go back to switch 1 and we'll give it that same configuration. So back to switch 1. Config T, banner, MOTD, quotations. So in the old lab, it was typed out. This message was typed out. Authorized access only. Violators will be prosecuted to the full extent of the law. And there I am at 100%. So we have completed this lab. Very good. Join me for the next one and let me know if there are any other labs that you would love to see. Take care.